You're looking at the old Morgan Mill site. Nothing remains. I'm sure that if you really wanted to, I don't see a way to cross the river unless I go take the road around. There's a bridge and things, but which we will. But the Empire Mill is over across the cottonwoods, which we'll get to later. But the river's kind of deep and full. This was almost empty a few weeks ago, but we've had such great snow on the mountains that it's all coming down. You know, water's probably like 8 feet in the middle, but this is where the Morgan Mill is. And now, I mean, it's a park. You can't even fish here. It says high mercury content because they used to use mercury to separate the gold from the ore, and then they went to cyanide processing later on in the late 1800s into the 1900s. Either way, it had gotten into the water tables in the water, and so eating these fish is probably not a good idea. But there's a lot of stuff, a lot of things hidden up in these. You see these trees? These are cottonwoods, and because there's hardly any leaves, it'll be easy to see any foundations or mill ruins, because we're going to be across the river too today. Right now we're heading to the Mexican Mill. It's kind of on the golf course. It's there's the Mexican ditch which brought water to the mill. We'll follow the ditch and the ditch trail, and we'll get out to the mill. I think there's a few mill ruins, not much. I'll tell you about the history once we get there, or at least if nothing's left, at least I'll tell you a little bit about the history and where it stood. Cold morning, brisk. I mean, we're talking right now, we're dealing with 30-degree temperatures, but I mean, just because there's no snow doesn't mean it's not cold. We're up in the mountains, and we have to accept that responsibility that we can't afford to take breaks during the year just because it gets cold out. The paranormal is always active all year round. We have a little bridge up here. Let's see what we got. This must be. Let's see what's down here. Oh, hey, look, you can go in that tunnel and stuff. I'll go in the tunnel, I don't care. Hold on a second. Here. These remnants could be part of the Mexican Mill or the Empire Mill nearby. Actually, this is probably the Morgan Mill remnants. Yeah, this is Morgan Mill right here. I said there was no remnants. Well, there are. But I wanted to show you, because I could not see it from the cemetery, and now I know why. It was blocked by the trees. That is Red House. That is one of the last remaining structures of the old empire. You have Sea Hill. Behind Sea Hill, all that's Kings Canyon. I've stood way up on the top of the mountains. And then you have Red House. And there's supposed to be some mill ruins somewhere in the woods, but I'm gonna have to figure out either how to get pictures or something. I don't know. This is what remains of Morgan Mill. So, you want to know about Mexican Mill? Since the ruins are over in those woods near Red House. Mexican Mill was built in 1860. The ore from the Ophir and the Mexican mine came here and was processed for its gold and silver. It was the first stamp mill. Prior to 1860, the ore was shipped to San Francisco, and it became tedious and expensive. It was more efficient to build an actual mill and process the ore right here, right near where the V&T Railroad goes up into those mountains where Virginia City is. So we have Red House here. It's on the golf course property, so it's part of the golf course for number one. Red House is part of the ghost town of Empire. The mill ruins, I don't know if we can. Can we take this dirt road up? Is this a dirt road right here?
No, it's a cement road. You just take the cement road and it goes all the way up.
Oh, okay. It was the first stamp mill that came to this canyon. And then, of course, the Gregory mill may have even been older than the Mexican mill. They both were built around 1859, 1860. But the first stamp mill is right here. You see these open golfing grounds where the golf course is? That's where the first stamp mill was that came to this area. And from there, between the lumber business, where the lumber came on the creek behind these trees, and stamp mill, or ore crushing and processing, led to the boom of empire. Let me get a few pictures of these, what's remaining of the Morgan Mill. For the website, I'm going to classify all the mills so that people can see what remains of them today. So this will be a nice little historical project. Maybe I'll do some EMF and some EVP. They could be, these sites could be haunted. They really could. You never know. It's pretty cold out. Sun or no sun, it is in its 30s today, and we are just grazing along the old Mexican mill and Morgan Mill site. This is Lord Rick.